Hey, the bullshit's here. Yesterday I saw on TV, believe it was in England, a 3.5 year old got suspended from school because this child was looking at another kid in the class and said, and accused that kid of being, I don't know, they didn't say whether it was a boy or a girl, but the little 3.5 year old knew that the other kid was, let's just say, a boy, but the other little kid was like, that was 3.5, 4 years old, was identifying as a girl, or it could have been vice versa. And this kid, the other kid kept saying, no, 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 this person is, a boy. I'm just using boy as an example. And they said, no, this kid's a girl. And he said, no, it's a boy. So they suspended that kid. Well, I guess that's where we're at now. It's all about identification. I identify as this or I identify as that. And it's really, it's reached the point of insanity, and little kids that are 4 years old are being, forced to identify as something that they're not. But oh yeah, this guy here, this is just side note. When I was a kid, we hitchhiked all over the place, but this guy didn't have his thumb up. But we all knew when we were 10, 11 years old that if a guy pulled up and said, hey, you want to ride? You didn't get in that guy's car. Unless he had his daughters with him, and that never happened. But anyways, getting back to this other story. So, you got these little kids now, and they've got them so confused. Now, I assume all these kids have parents, or at least a parent, and I don't know what the parents are thinking. I don't know what anybody's thinking in this world anymore, other than the system is in complete control of your children. No wonder nobody wants to have kids. I mean, why would you want to have kids when as soon as you have them, you have to give them a bank of this, that, and the other thing, at the doctor's office. And then when they start school, they're being told all sorts of stuff that maybe you don't agree with. And if you go to school and complain, at the very best, your kid is going to be, put into that category of we don't like this kid because we don't like his parents' beliefs and thoughts, and we're going to work this kid over even more. If you can't afford, to send your kids to some private, school, I don't know what you can do other than it's a mess. All right. But here's where I really feel it's going. If a kid can identify or is told what to identify as, then you can identify as anything you want, which people, you got people doing it now. They identify as animals, and today I'm this, tomorrow I'm that, and you'd better go along with what I am today or I'm going to sue or whatever. But I really think that it's just getting to a point where they'll be able to now have kids, little girls and little boys that are, say, age 10 or 11, and they'll say, I identify as an adult. They'll be convinced to do this. And then, hey, this kid is now an adult, and they identify as being 25 years old. So they can choose what they want. It's really crazy when you think about it, and it's not good at all. Then I look at a lot of these so-called role models out there, and, they are exactly that, role models. And they walk around naked, basically, and all these little kids watch this stuff, and all these little kids' parents are sitting there watching the stuff with them, and they're all cheering it on. And if I was 5 years old, I used to imitate what I saw on television. When I was a kid growing up, I'm old, and we watched Davy Crockett, Annie Oakley, Roy Rogers, stuff like that. Everybody wanted to be cowboys. And, these were all these types that would go out like the Lone Ranger, and they'd always correct bad. And they were heroes, and they'd go out and they'd fight for the rights of the people that were being picked on. If you ever watch Bonanza, every week, the Cartwrights were helping some people that were being, bullied by the town. That was what we were taught growing up, that you didn't let people bully other people. There were still bullies out there, of course, but if you ever sit down and watch some of those old shows, and it wasn't just the Westerns, it was a whole, that's the way TV was. Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, all those shows, they actually had a lot of positive, stuff put forward, but things started changing. I just learned this the other day. And I kind of knew it, but they put it in better perspective. And that was starting in the year was 1963 when this went down. But after 63, when the studies kept going, they saw that crime rates were going up, and they're still going up. And birth rates were going down, and divorces started skyrocketing. Everything that you could imagine. SAT scores collapsed in the United States. Right now, we're at the bottom of the barrel on a lot of stuff. And I think it's that way, in a lot of countries, the Western, what they call Western civilization. But everything just, went to hell. It did. And they said that it all began in 1963. Now, all we've been hearing about, Kennedy was assassinated in 63, but that was in November. But it was in 1963 that in the United States, they outlawed prayer and the Bible in the public schools. Now, if I remember right, that all happened on the account of one father. One person said he didn't want his daughter having to listen to this stuff. And so that was the end of that. And things have just gotten to where they are now. Now, people hate the Bible, they hate prayer, they hate church and all that. And I can understand why you got people that feel that way. But, statistics are, they're right there, and it's obvious. One other thing that always got me was, that was 63. In 1968, I'm pretty sure 68, possibly 69, when the U.S. Supreme Court said that pornography was a form of art. And you put those together along with the birth control pill and, the hippie movement and all that, and where we at today. You look at all the protesting in the 60s and into the early 70s, and today you watch TV and you see these same people. They're now all old with white hair, paunch bellies, and they're out there with hammers breaking Tesla toy cars. And it's amazing, So where are we all going, Will? I would suggest, if you really want to know where we're going, just pick up your Bible and read the book of Revelations. Read Genesis there into the right up to into Noah's Ark. Now, people are going to say, "Oh, this guy's crazy," but we're looking at it. We are observing it, and wars and the earthquakes and all the stuff going on, and all this talk of UFOs, and a long time ago, I heard this, and I believe it. They said that people that you think they're being abducted by aliens from outer space, I've heard the people say that said they were being abducted on these late night radio shows, saying that the only thing that saved them was when they called the name Jesus, and that released them. They're demons. These aliens are demons, and I don't know what to tell you all, but I'm just making this video because I saw the other day, I was watching something, they said that the only refuge, the only safe harbor we have is God. And God's safe harbor, believe it or not, is to be patient and to be humble. And if you can, get yourself to be, you got to just be patient and humble, and you got to kind of just, I'm bringing this stuff up in front of your face, but it's not really good for us. Often I say, I'm not going to stop watching all that news and just avoid it. But it's again, they programmed us and they get us to watch it, and it riles people up. It riles people up so much that they're, driving into Teslas and riots and protests everywhere about every stupid little thing you could imagine. That's what they want. Total chaos. The word, chaos rules. And if you look at, there's two sides. There's like the side that wants to have conformity or, rules that work for everybody. And then there's this chaos side. And I guess the side that's on chaos that is running around, they all got cardboard signs about one thing or the other, believe they're right. And the other side, the quiet majority, silent majority, they're silent. And it's like the people in the top with the magic wand, I'll call it, keep waving that wand, and they're doing everything they can to get the silent majority to just flip out. And it's just a matter of time. If they have to cut food supplies off, when people get hungry, they start to really get crazy. Look at history. And people get hungry, they start eating each other. And boy, they got enough movies out there suggesting that, do they not? Well, this film here, if you're wondering what it is, if you've never seen it before, it's a great film. It's called Teenagers from Outer Space. I'm done with my rant, and I'll just tell you a little bit about this film. It was produced, directed, and even one of the people in the film, he created the whole film. He put it together. He filmed all this in 1956, but he was an outsider, and Hollywood just wouldn't let him get it up on the screens until he finally got to the point where, he'd gone flat broke. If you watch the film, the guy that put it all together, he's the news reporter in this movie and his name's Joe. He did the whole film. He made it. And after Hollywood had broke the guy, they finally said, okay, we'll put it up on the screen. But other than him getting credit, he didn't make a dime. He lost everything. He committed suicide. So, Tinseltown is Tinseltown. And there's a couple of people in this film. Oh, yeah, I got to show you one thing. I'm going to speed this up. You're going to laugh. There's a very famous movie star, you could say, in this film. And this is worth this whole video if you didn't know this. Hold on. Teenagers from Outer Space. Harvey B. Dunn actually had a halfway decent career, but this is the one I want you to check out. This guy right here, Robert King Moody. All right, who is he? And let's take a look at old Robert King Moody. Not him. There's Robert King Moody. Now, you people, everybody watching this knows who this guy is. You do know who he is, not him. They'll give another close-up of Moody, and I'll put it on pause, and I'll tell you who he is. I don't know how many movies he did in Hollywood, but he was Ronald McDonald. Yep, that clown you see at McDonald's, he's the original. He did most all the early commercials. I don't know how many. I think he was like Ronald McDonald for 10, 12 years. And in this one, though, he's the leader of the aliens that are trying to devour the planet Earth. He was in a few other films. One of them I started to watch, and I actually had to shut it off, even though it was made like in the late 50s. It was very disturbing. And with that, everybody, there's a little bit of history and nostalgia, and where in the hell are we going? Everybody have a great day, and pray, constantly pray. It's all you can do, and try to be humble and be patient. Be patient. Just, It's all going to end. And if you're patient and you keep your heart with Jesus, you'll be on the right side. I'm sure of it.